On this week's show, Tesla confirms production Model 3 reveal will take place in July, with Tesla truck reveal planned for September. The Lucid Air hits an impressive 350 kph during alpha prototype testing, and how you can get your very own ecoTEC license plate frames to support your favorite carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. These stories and more coming up next. This is ecoTEC's brand new Eco News Roundup show, brought to you by New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. 100% Kiwi and 49% community owned, we're serious about clean, green, renewable energy. Have you switched? Head to ecotecity.co.nz to join today. Hi there, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, a professional musician turned EV nut, eco-crusader and fan of all things green, and I'm here to bring Kiwis a weekly roundup of the biggest news stories around the world in relation to cleaner, greener cars. And as always, I'm so happy to be here! Today, we're starting with a confirmation from Tesla CEO Elon Musk that Tesla will reveal the official production version of the Model 3 electric car at a special event in July this year, most likely the same time where first customers, probably Tesla employees, will get their first cars. In keeping with Musk's usual habit of announcing things on Twitter, this particular confirmation was no different, ending speculation that had suggested Tesla was looking for an earlier, June-based reveal date for the production Model 3. At the big July event, we'll not only get to see what production Model 3 models will look like, though spy shots have given us a pretty good idea, but we'll also get to hear about final specifications, pricing, and planned rollout dates for non-US markets. At the same time as confirming the Model 3 production reveal schedule, Musk also confirmed that Tesla's engineers have been working very hard on its planned Tesla Semi, an all-electric tractor unit designed to revolutionize the haulage industry. And while we won't see that at the July event, Musk suggested we'll get to see that for the first time this September. So, if you're a Tesla fan, it looks like there's a lot to look forward to in the next few months. While Tesla appears to be going from strength to strength, however, things aren't so good at Ford, which has confirmed this week that it's going to be withdrawing the Ford Focus electric car from sale in Europe, citing lack of consumer interest. The Focus EV, which is about to get a range boost for the markets where it will continue to be sold, is something of a compliance car, built on the same chassis as the internal combustion engine Focus, but with an electric drivetrain instead. But while Ford cites consumer apathy, I think it's fair to lay some of the blame, if not all, at Ford's feet. Aside from the poor design, most of the usual hatchback load-based space was taken up with a battery pack, Ford's done very little to promote the Focus Electric. Even in the US, where Ford needs to sell a certain number of electrics to meet California ZEV mandate laws, Ford has always treated the Focus EV like the bastard stepchild. And I guess that action is coming home to roost at last. As you'll know if you watched last week, a recent study into autonomous vehicle technology concluded that Ford, General Motors and Renault-Nissan were currently leading the push towards autonomous vehicles, not based on the technology in the marketplace, because that accolade goes fairly and squarely to Tesla, but in terms of technology heading to market soon. Many of you disagreed with that report, but this week at the New York Auto Show, GM's luxury arm Cadillac unveiled Supercruise, a semi-autonomous driving technology debuting on the new CT6 luxury sedan that not only allows for hands-free driving on the highway, but leverages a driver monitoring system designed to ensure the driver remains alert and ready to take over at all times. This, says GM, is an industry first and makes sure that drivers can't abuse the technology by losing all concentration on the road ahead. In this way, then, the system might do the driving for you, but you're still expected to be a backup for the car. And if you're not doing that, the system will bug you until you are. Given that some people have already demonstrated how easy it is and dangerous it is to abuse autonomous driving tech, and it really is dangerous until we have fully autonomous level 5 vehicles, GM's solution is very smart, and I, for one, can't wait to try it out. Earlier this year, the Tesla Model S P100D became the longest-range Tesla electric car you can buy, managing an official 315-mile, 506-kilometer rating at launch in the US. But being a performance-oriented model, it was only a matter of time before the P100D's range was surpassed by the more frugal Tesla Model S 100D. And this week, that's exactly what happened, with the lower performance, longer-legged Model S 100D getting an official 335-mile, 540-kilometer rating from the US EPA. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is that less than the 613 Ks that the Tesla Model S P100D gets over here in New Zealand? Well, that's simple. New Zealand uses the overly optimistic NEDC test cycle from Europe for its ratings, and well, it's known to exaggerate real-world ranges quite a bit. Sadly, there are no official ratings yet for the Model S 100D in New Zealand, but given the US EPA tests are pretty darned accurate, I reckon 540 kilometers is a good starting point. What do you think? Our next story isn't really so much a story as a shared experience, and one I hope you'll enjoy. You see, just as some of you in New Zealand have been battling down the hatches and braving Cyclone Cook this past week, I was braving my own storm on the west coast of America last week. And while our storms weren't anywhere near as bad as yours, we ended up without power for the best part of 2 days, prompting me to get creative. And that's where I learned that it's possible to keep your house running, or at least the fridge and a few other choice appliances, powered during a power outage if you have a fully charged electric car and a simple 12-volt to mains power inverter. With about 20 kilowatt hours in my car's battery pack available to me, I was able to keep things running quite happily for an impressive number of hours. So with cyclone season on the way, you may want to investigate a similar solution yourself. And yes, I'll be doing a video on this very soon, so stay tuned. With more and more electric cars coming to market with ever more impressive ranges, there's never been a better time to make the switch to electric. But 2 new plug-in cars which debuted this week in New York, variants of the Honda Clarity, are 2 cars that you may want to avoid, if they ever make it to New Zealand, that is. Take the Clarity Electric, for example. At a time where other electric cars are heading towards 200 Ks of range, the Clarity EV is going on sale with a similar price tag to the Tesla Model 3 and a real-world range of about 130 kilometers. And the plug-in hybrid variant of the Clarity is hardly any better. It has just under 70 Ks of range per charge before its petrol engine kicks in, which is far less than the Prius Prime and frankly, making it a car that I can't see selling in any large numbers. Never mind Honda, you tried, I guess. You just should have made that Honda Jazz EV that you made in small numbers for the US a production electric car, but If you think I'm obviously disappointed with the upcoming Clarity, I'm going to tell you now that I'm obviously super impressed with the next car I'm going to talk about, because it's the Lucid Air Luxury EV, a car which has yet to even enter production. You see, this week, as part of its ramp up to a predicted 2018 production launch, Lucid has been putting alpha prototypes for the Lucid Air through a series of engineering tests to see just how good it really is. And that includes high-speed testing. How high a speed? Well, as Lucid announced this week, a prototype Air recently hit 217 miles per hour. That's nearly 350 kilometers per hour during some of its high-speed testing. That's well beyond the top speed of a stock Tesla Model S, and assuming it keeps that speed into production, is going to make some pretty big waves in the plug-in marketplace in the process. While Lucid hasn't confirmed for sure these kind of high speeds will make it into a production model, it has hinted that at least one of its key markets is one in which high speeds in the ballpark of those achieved are expected of premium cars that go on sale. So, Germany then. Talking of Germany, that's where we're heading next, because that's where Tesla's recently acquired advanced automation division is based. And if you're unsure of what that is, it's the name given to the company formerly known as Grohmann Engineering when Tesla acquired it late last year. Specialists in the large construction robots that are found on pretty much every automotive production line, the acquisition of Grohmann Engineering meant that Tesla had its own in-house specialist it could use to build assembly machinery for automotive, battery, and solar panel production lines. At the time of the acquisition, Tesla said that it would let the company keep all of its existing supply contracts, many of which were with the largest automakers in the world. But last week, Tesla has pretty much torn up all of those contracts, focusing instead on the equipment it needs for its own factory, specifically Model 3. It's a move that makes sense, but severs all of the connections with the previous automaker clients that the firm had. And what's more, it's upset a lot of the workforce who are understandably nervous about Tesla putting all of the factory's eggs in one basket. It's not clear what will happen next, so this is a story we're going to have to update you on as and when we have something else to share. Ever since the Dieselgate debacle, we've seen the concerted effort from Volkswagen to cast itself as a more environmentally conscious, reformed automaker. And part of that has been the almost continual stream of new plug-in models and concept cars we've seen Volkswagen showcase at auto shows to prove the point. Well, next week in Shanghai, Volkswagen will showcase another car that it says will preview an all-electric SUV, supposedly part of the same ID family that brought us the ID and ID Buzz concepts. This new Volkswagen SUV coupe, Volkswagen's words, not mine, envisages a day when Volkswagen produces cars which all have 300 plus miles of all-electric range and can still operate in full level 5 autonomy, entertaining their occupants with an always-on, always-connected, high-speed internet connection. Yep, it's nice, Volkswagen, that you want to make these cars a reality, but come on! Get on with it already. Earlier on in today's show, I touched on a story that I covered last week in which GM, Ford and Renault Nissan were placed at higher than Tesla Motors when it came to the industry analysis of how automakers plan to roll out fully autonomous vehicles. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, many of you scoffed at that story, saying Tesla was clearly putting all the effort in where others weren't. But this week we heard the news that General Motors, specifically its recently acquired Cruise Automation division, is undergoing something of a hiring spree right now, with more than 1,100 new positions advertised at the Cruise Automation headquarters in Silicon Valley. Add to that this week the news that GM has launched a new competition designed to get university students involved in developing and building autonomous vehicle systems by donating several Bolt EVs to different colleges and universities across the US, and it's clear that GM is most certainly serious about autonomous drive vehicles. The question? How will they fare against Tesla? I'm going to let you guys duke that one out down below. It's been in the planning now for some time. Could be a serious contender to Formula E in terms of fan base and excitement, and uses race-prepared, stripped-down Tesla Model S P100Ds that can sprint from 0 to 100 kph in just 2 seconds. And now, Electric GT, the first ever GT race series for electric cars, has confirmed the first 2 electric Grand Prix of its inaugural season will take place in France at the Paul Ricard circuit on November 25th and November 26th this year. Promoted as a weekend-long festival celebrating technology, sustainability and innovation, the first 2 races will be exciting for everyone involved, and I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed that I'll get to experience at least one of those races firsthand. If I save up my pennies, that is. Will it come to New Zealand? Well, we can hope. And if I hear anything that suggests this is about to happen, I will of course let you know. But which racetrack should they use? Let us know in the comments below. And finally, if you're a Kiwi who already owns an electric car, the chances are that you probably already know about ecoTEC's special 33% off-peak electric car discount for electric car owners. But did you know that you can also get a free set of license plate surrounds for your electric car? The plate borders are free of charge for any ecoTEC or ChargeNet New Zealand customer. In fact, anyone else who has a Kiwi electric car. I think they're pretty snazzy, and they'll certainly help your EV stand out on the road, be it in the T2 or T3 lanes or just along regular old highways. So if you want your own set, be sure to send ecoTEC an email at bring.change@ecotricity.co.nz with your first and last name, your home address, and the make, model and rego of your EV. And on that note, it's time for me to say goodbye. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Tell your friends about the show. And if you've got some feedback, be sure to send it our way. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend, make sure you do something fun, and don't forget to help keep those wind turbines spinning by switching to New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. Thanks for joining me. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and until next time, hug a tree. Bye.